Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Golden Nova's First Reacts, where I react first to all the things you want to see reacted to first, as long as I'm the first person that you go to react to things first. Tenyis are back! Supreme Darkness is the set that keeps on giving us some pretty wild pieces of legacy support. Tenyi was one of those archetypes that I felt would have made for a really good lore archetype, and Master Duel agrees with me. It has its own solo mode, but I thought we were done here. We had a complete story, you know, Akuma gains the power of the dragon, is consumed by it, Ryu and Chun-Li come together and channel the spirits of the dragons to defeat him and prove that righteousness and goodness is better than being really good at a fighting game. But it appears the story has been extended. Not gonna see me complaining. I kind of dig Tenyi. And it looks like we're gonna see what happens when you harness the powers of dragons, but for goodness. Let's check out the three new cards. First up is Tenyi Spirit Surya, level 4 light. Presume it means a Wyrm monster as well. You can only use the first and second effect of this card once per turn. If you control a Wyrm monster or a face-up non-effect monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. Oh, that's different from normal, because it's if you control no effect monsters. But now it's if you control a Wyrm or a face-up effect. Okay. This lets you extend whenever you summon your effect Tenyi monsters, because while a lot of them care about like not having effect monsters on board and or non-effect monsters, once you get into things like the Link 2 or the Link 4 or the Synchro or even the Link 3 that has an effect, you kind of shut yourself off from doing a lot of summons. So I guess it's cool to have another extender for that. If this card is sent to the grave as Synchro material for a Wyrm Synchro monster, you can special summon a Tenyi Link monster from your extra deck, then lose life points equal to its Link rating times 1,000. Also, it cannot be used as Link material. Oh. Okay. That's interesting, because this does get Monk of the Tenyi out. You lose 1,000 life points, and that puts a non-effect monster on your board to activate the effects of all of your Tenyi monsters in the hand or in the graveyard. But if you can't use it as Link material, then you can't Link climb with Monk, which was one of the things that you would do to get to your higher power leveled cards. Alternatively, you can get Sahasrara, the big Link 4, which makes you tokens, which are non-effect monsters, so they'll still let you access your Tenyi stuff by copying your opponent's monster stats. So I feel like that's the way to go, but you are losing a 4,000 life point chunk if you want to do that. That's very interesting. That's kind of goofy. I also wonder if this is also supposed to be a tuner. We left off Wyrm, so it could be, and it looks like there's an additional set here, which would indicate that it might be a tuner. We'll double check a different translation after this just to make sure. Tenyi Spirit Mula Adhara, level 8 light Wyrm Synchro. Okay, sorry, I saw Wyrm Synchro under here, and I'm like, wait, did I miss it the whole time? Was it staring me in the face? I wouldn't blame it. I wouldn't put it past me, but not this time. This time I was too on the nose for him. So it's a level 8 light Wyrm Synchro monster requiring a tuner and one or more non-tuners, so it's a generic Synchro. You can only use the first effect of this card once per turn. If this card is Synchro summoned and there are 2 or more Wyrm monsters in your graveyard and or banishment, you can add a field spell from your deck to your hand. That is one of the most dangerous lines of text that you can put on a card. Draw a card, ain't nothing on this. Field spells are some of the most ridiculous cards ever printed in this game. The fact that there needs to be 2 or more Wyrm monsters in rotation, I don't believe that's a meaningful restriction. Swordsoul does this by itself and doesn't have its own field spell, so you can splash in a ton of stuff that works with those synergies. Oh, okay. So it's violence that they've chosen today. Incredible. Gains the following effects while a face-up non-effect monster is on the field. It can't be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. Your opponent cannot target this card with card effects, and this card can make up to 2 attacks during each battle phase. Not on monsters, if the translation is correct. But that's a 3,000 beater that can't be targeted or destroyed by your opponent's card effects as long as you have a non-effect monster. That's another thing that getting Monk onto the field will help you with. Oh, man. Oh, that's not true. Tenyi do have a field spell. They have the Flawless Perfection of the Tenyi. Or I said Swordsoul didn't have a field spell, and they don't, but Tenyi do. So they have a pretty nifty field spell, I would say. But because it can search any of them, keep an eye out. There's some new synergies on the horizon. Wait. They had a field spell again the whole time. My apologies. That's on me. I shouldn't have assumed. Tenyi Eternal Mind field spell. You can only use the second effect of this card once per turn. You can only activate one copy of this card per turn. When this card's activation resolves, you can add a Vessel of the Dragon Cycle or Heavenly Dragon Circle from your deck to your hand. You contribute a Wyrm monster you control, then target a monster on the field and destroy it. Okay, I like that it turns worms into removal. During your end phase, you can send this card to the graveyard, and if you do, take a Flawless Perfection of the Tenyi from your deck or graveyard and place it face up in your field zone. Okay, so that's the other field spell we were talking about. This is a gaggle of stuff. So first off, second effect can only be used once per turn, so we can't keep looping through them. But if we summon out one of our Tenyi spirits and then tribute it with this effect to pop a card, we now control no effect monsters, so we can summon another differently named Tenyi spirit out of our hand. So that's cool. That's a good thing that facilitates, and it's also just removal in general, so that's nice. Vessel of the Dragon Cycle, just as a reminder for both you and me, because there's a lot of cards out there. Sends a Wyrm monster from your deck to the graveyard, then if you control a face-up non-effect monster, you can add from your deck to your hand. So it's a Foolish that has the upside of being a Rhoda if we have the non-effect clause completed. Heavenly Dragon Circle tributes a Wyrm to add a Wyrm from deck to hand. Or if you tributed a non-effect monster, you can special summon it instead but negate its effects. During your main phase, if you control a face-up non-effect monster, you can banish this card from your graveyard to add a Tenyi card from your deck to your hand. So it is also a search card. And then the field spell. All non-effect monsters on the field are unaffected by monster effects. Once per turn when your opponent special summons an effect monster while you control a face-down or non-effect monster, except during the damage step, you can draw 2 cards. So you can go through your turn, play this, get either your Foolish and Rhoda, or your I guess special summon from deck, your E-Telly, if for lack of a better term. You can get either of those when this activates. You can tribute a card to remove a card, and then during your end phase, you can transform this from being a card that doesn't really do anything to a card that potentially draws you 2 cards and makes all of your non-effect monsters towers. Comboing very well with the Link 3. Not the Link 1 because it's only got 1,000 attack, and that's not helping anyone. Okay, oh, and there's a lot of overlap between this and the Tenyi Berserker Draco one, also level 8. That one's dark, this one's light, you know, gotta have that divide. Has the multi-attack ability on here. So that's pretty nifty. Let's go ahead and check Yu-Gi-Oh! Organization really quickly. I want to double check the info on Surya. Yes, they have stated that this is a tuner, so this is another thing that just enables us to go into cards. That is so we can summon a level 4 Tenyi from our hand. Summon this beside it, even though we control an effect monster. Sync for this. Or Draco Berserker. You can do that too. Wow. Incredible. Wyrm Synchro. There don't appear to be any other discrepancies. So yeah, these cards are cool. I think that they are going to make the Wyrm pile a lot better. We have another level 8 monster that lets you do something heinous. I assure you this will be used for nothing but violence. Everything down here, irrelevant. We're going to do this, we're going to search ourselves a field spell, and then we're going to sync it up for like a level 10 or something. Or a 9, you know, we have the level 1 tuner. We can make it a level 9 synchro. Why not? Field spell's pretty good. Adds consistency. You love it when your field spells do more stuff for you. And then it plays into a different field spell that the deck had, so it makes them feel synergistic instead of clashing with each other. And Surya does not have any restriction on it. This is actually, now that I go back to thinking about how Swordsoul would work, this is such a great insulator for Swordsoul, right? Like, one of the ways you would stop the deck is go, hey, I'm going to go Mo-Yi, reveal a Wyrm, and then you would imperm that or Veiler it so they wouldn't get the token, and then they would be stuck in the water unless they had a backup plan. And now they have a new one where they can go, okay, cool, Surya, sink. I'm curious to see where this goes. This is more than definitely going to add to the Tenyi Swordsoul pile more than making Tenyi an actual viable deck all on its own. But I don't think that's a bad thing. I quite liked the Tenyi pile. It had a lot of cool stuff going on. It wasn't too oppressive. It was sometimes really annoyingly good at maintaining advantage, but, you know, it's certainly not any more annoying than some of the stuff getting cranked out today, so fairly nice. Happy to see it. Hopefully it gets some good usage out in the field of battle. But that's where my expertise ends. Now, it's up to you. What's going on with these new Tenyi cards? Have you figured out any weird combos for them? Is there anything that I overlooked that I wasn't able to account for? Let me know down below, and until the next time Konami drops some more delicious spoilers, I will see all of you next time. Bye-bye. Today's episode is brought to you by Dragon Shield. Get the sleeves as strong as dragon scales and get 5% off your order by using the coupon code GoldenNova at checkout. It was also brought to you by my lovely patrons, including this month's illustrious Quasar Commanders, Upstairs Media, and the Wizard Moose, Nebula Navigators, 3rd Dynasty, 50 Gigabits, Ada Basilisk, Adam Zajdel, Owexotoe Hime, Anansi Dragon, Ancient Wizard, Andrew Newman, Kane Senpai, Christopher Fuss, Clockswork, Comrade Copperbottom, Eric, Frankie, Garland Chaos, Great Big Pillock, Hair Bear, Happy Majin, Harry the Ominous Benefactor, Iron Zero, Iskander 711, Carp, Mana Charge, Marion James E. Picata, Megacomb B is entering the Chrysalis, Millennia Asta, Mern, Muse Clark, Nathan Vig, Natiel Lee Alexander, Orozco 09096, Panther J, Pat Poos, Rebel King Lucifer, Red Eyes Jackalow, RJ the Jank Monarch, Serenity Towns, The Critic of Innocence and Thievery Coast, Cosmic Crusaders Beden von Titty Sprinkles, Beelzephyr Fish, Beluga Masta, Blitzwolf, Chaz Ghost, Dr. Reaper RIP, Eva Padilla, Hype Voyagian, Herbal D, Ignis Heat the True Draco Slayer, Inblink, Kale the Dragon, Kevon Public, Lobomaru02, Manga Pages, Matt Simmons, McSpoofy, Michael Shimabukuro, Mike, Nitromo, Nyx, Obsidian, Shizuka Nijimura, Sophie, apparently, Stephen Williamson, Taylor Seymour, The Legendary Raven, The Phantom Knights of Shitted Pants, The Gene, The Pokemon 52, Tiger X2476, Weasel King of Weaseltown and Zaldureka, as well as all the lovely Starlight Explorers you see on screen now. If you'd like to help me in my journey to cover all of Yu-Gi-Oh's archetypes, get my videos early, be a part of these credits and other awesome perks, it would mean the world to me if you would check out the link to my Patreon in the description or consider joining as a YouTube member.